was asked to try and bring some of the sustainable tourism message by WTTC into this Global Travel and Tourism Summit in 2004. And I can tell you, in 2004, I'll need 10, and I won't go over that. In 2004, I can tell you in the audience, when I started talking about this, you want to talk about, you know, sheep in the wolf's den type of thing, you know, they were like, I could hear people, you know, who let this guy in here? You know, what the heck, does he have an invitation? I mean, because to get in this door, it's like invitation only, strictly controlled, you know, because the type of high caliber people that were there. The following year, when I got up and talked again about this, it was like, he's back again? You know, we got to talk to the board about this. You know, we're trying to figure out how to just run our businesses and get, you know, visas and issues like that and how we're going to get more capacity in our workforce. This sustainable tough stuff we don't have time for. Now, fast forward to 2008 or 2007, it is driving their agenda. And it's this whole thing percolating up. So in the home front here in Canada, you're well familiar with one of your own brands, Fairmont Hotels and Resorts, which from 1989 issued their first green green partnership guide to best practices, and just this year issued their third version of that, authored with a foreword by David Suzuki. Even if Fairmont has not yet been able to bring their sustainable practice across the board to all of their properties, they are clearly innovating and benchmarking some very significant best practices that the rest of the hospitality industry is taking a look at. Keep your eyes out, because Starwood, which is Westin Hotels and so on, is just about to unveil their new Element brand hotels that will have low-flow faucets, carpets made of recycled materials, paints designed to improve air quality, etc. Element is going to become Best Western. Okay, you're going to see Element hotels in all these towns in different places around North America, and they are going to be predicated entirely on this premise of sustainability. Intercontinental has just stated that they will be building the first 100% carbon neutral hotel in the world. Well, let's see the details on that. And Six Senses Resorts and Spas in Asia are taking it even further, using new technology to create air conditioning from deep seawater in the Maldives, with a goal to achieve a completely zero carbon emissions resort in 2010. And there's a difference between carbon neutral and zero carbon. Virgin Atlantic, this past spring in 2008, tested their first biofuel-supported test flight over the Atlantic last spring. You know, the $25 million is still out there that Richard Branson has offered to anybody who can help him come up with a more effective way to do air travel that's environmentally friendly. And the list goes on from there. And herein also, however, lies the risk, a real risk, I believe, for every travel business out there. Sustainable tourism needs to be, as we know, more than a marketing campaign. And it's not just a question of, oh, they're greenwashing or they're not. The media is now, after years of falling behind, becoming much more sophisticated, the consumer much more sophisticated, and the point is, have your ducks in a row, because if you're a business that's making claims that cannot be supported, you might end up like Aspen Snowmass did last year. And by the way, they are doing good things there, but they made some very bold claims based on renewable energy credits, which they could not substantiate, which got them on the cover of Business Week magazine under a title in bold called Little Green Lies. That's definitely not the kind of marketing anybody wants. So whether you're a destination or a business, it's not a risk worth taking. And my point is that there's enough good work going on, and we have it in this room, and we've heard about it. We don't need to embellish. We just need to put into action what we're talking about. And, you know, so where does that kind of leave us today? Look, we still have a very long way to go. Let's not pretend that somehow the golden age of green has arrived. No, but the golden age of green awareness is certainly upon us. Not every tourist out there gives a hoot about the environment. There's still a lot of people, show me the way to the margarita bar and whatever big giant concrete swimming pool there might be. And, of course, there are new forces coming onto the world stage that are going to impact this revolutionary transformation. Think China, for example, as China begins to expand its travel market. So huge challenges do remain to transform tourism industry into really delivering the solid goods. But let's not make another mistake, and that is the following. We are way past the question of, does sustainable tourism work? It does. It has been demonstrated by many of you here and many parts of the world that I've been. I have been looking at it for the last 20 years and especially the last 10 years. The question now is simply, how far can we take it? You know, how far can we really move this agenda to the degree that we want to go? The concepts and ideas are no longer in the realm of small Costa Rican jungle lodges or kayaking tour operators doing wonderful things in the Maritimes, but as I said, are making their way right up at the top. In 2008, Hertz Rent-A-Car, call Hertz up. Remember the days of, would you like a compact, an economy, or a luxury? Would you like our sport, fun, or green collection? And by the way, their green collection is 1,000 Toyota Prius hybrids spread out across airports in North America. So this notion of sustainable tourism, let us not forget, is not only about wanting to do something good. Yes, that's the values that we believe in here. Not every business person shares those values. But they do share another value, and that is, in a very real business sense, it is about ensuring the viability of the tourism industry in the long run. No one ever said, I mean, have you ever heard it, that a destination was spoiled because there were no billboards, there was no sprawl, you know, there was no strip development? No, that is not. You never heard people complaining about a destination for that reason. And by the way, we had an enlightening conversation about authenticity yesterday, and that has its own thing. But you know, now when I travel and I write about places, I have my own little test. And when I land myself in a hotel, or even a small, you know, B&B or small lodge, and I stand in that reception area, I imagine that I somehow appeared there magically. I don't know how I got there. And I look around the room I'm in. And if I can't figure out what country I'm in, by that look around that room, I mean, forget about what province, okay? If I can't figure out what country I'm in, if I can't figure out what continent I'm on, I'm at ground zero for unsustainability and lack of authenticity. These places have to reflect and embrace and celebrate where we are. Stand in downtown Cancun on Main Street, and I guarantee you, you can look up, you can look down, across this way and that way, and if you didn't know where you were, you wouldn't have a clue you were in Mexico. Not at all. So I think we all agree here that how tourism continues to grow and develop is of great consequence to the natural environment, to the local people whose lives it will directly impact, and certainly, as we've said, the long-term economic survival of the industry itself. That is the real bottom line. And I want to make one other comment, because I missed yesterday's morning sessions, but it comes up and it keeps coming up, and I feel it's important just for all of us to at least, you know, kind of think about this. And that is this issue about carbon emissions from jet travel, because I'm often asked about this. The idea that the tourism industry is actually the culprit. You know, people flying to Costa Rica to stay in a jungle lodge or a safari to Africa or so on. And I'm also reminded how in 2007, some of you may remember that they opened Heathrow Terminal 5 in London, and well-meaning folks who I personally identify with, not their methodology, but the spirit and their passion and what they were concerned about, chained themselves to the entranceways in an effort to try and shut down Heathrow, claiming that if we did not, it was going to destroy the earth. And like I said, I sympathize with those feelings. But I can tell you, in my own travels and work, both as a conservationist and in terms of tourism, if I could turn around right now and just switch off global tourism like a light, I mean, just boom, down, and every plane on the planet and every airport just stopped like that. Far from saving the earth, we would, in my view, we would enter an environmental crisis, an environmental nightmare. Why? Because the reasons are places like the Serengeti, the last great plains and, you know, and land migration on our planet,